Welcome to Policy and Profit, the podcast for ambitious insurance agents and agency owners who want to build predictable and profitable businesses without chasing bad leads or begging for referrals. And let me just be brutally honest with you for a second. Most agency owners aren't building a team, they're babysitting one. They spend their days chasing flaky prospects, time vampires, recruiting the same people over and over again, repeating the same recruiting pitch 5 times a week like a parrot, only to have no-shows, ghosters, and broke dreamers drain their time and energy. And worst of all, their personal production suffers. And they start resenting the team that they tried so hard to build. And worst of all, if that's you, you're not lazy. You're just trying to scale using effort instead of systems. That's why I built the Autopilot Recruiter, a done-for-you system that helps you attract qualified agents, pre-sell them with your story, and get them onboarded, all without doing another live Zoom, sales pitch, or three-way call ever again. It's the same system top recruiters are using to grow massive downlines in the hundreds that they make me sign NDAs about without sacrificing their commissions, their time, or their sanity. If you're ready to build a team that actually grows itself, go to writemorepolicies.com/playbook and download the free playbook today. Today's guest is a very near and dear friend of mine, and his name is McCrae. He has over 30 years of experience in the nonprofit sector and began his six-figure insurance agency in 2020 when the whole world went wild, right, Brian? So welcome to the show, buddy. Tell me something you believe is the key to succeeding in insurance sales that most agents completely overlook.
Absolutely. First of all, it's great to be with you. I appreciated the invite. We go back several years in this business, and it's been a joy to watch your journey. But so the biggest thing, and I put up a post. I'm in a Facebook group called We Are Insurance Agents, and it's got several thousand people in that group already. But I put up a post the other day and I said the single most important thing about succeeding consistently at a high level in this industry is making a decision from the feet all the way up to the top of your head that come hell or high water, I'm going to figure this thing out, number one. Number two, once I've got the basics figured out, I'm not stopping until I reach whatever goal it is that I've set for myself, whether that's being a high-level personal producer or a high-level builder of teams or agencies. Either way, what I see a lot of people do, and I'm sure you've coached a lot of people in this industry, so you've seen it even more than I have probably. But that is people come in here with an attitude of, oh, gee, Mason, everything you're saying sounds awesome, so I'm going to throw my hat in the ring and we'll see what happens. Well, if that's the attitude they're jumping in with, we know what's going to happen. That 9.9 times out of 10 is not going to work out for them. But when they burn their bridges, when they burn the ships once they reach shore and say, I would rather have a limb cut off of my body than to not succeed and hit the goals that I've set for myself in this 1099 commission only business, because that decision has to be made. And if it's not made, I wish you well.
Fortune favors the bold man. You're talking about goals, and I'm a huge proponent of defining things, because typically once you define something, you can find the boundaries in which it operates in. And when we define a word like success, everyone has their definitions. Yet I look for something that has to be true for every single person of every single race, every single religion, every single line of insurance, every single type of person out there. And I have not found a better definition of success than this. And it's as follows. Success is goals, all else is commentary.
That's good.
That's it. Success is goals, all else is commentary. If anyone else tells you anything else, I I I challenge you to I'd really challenge you to compare those, because success is goals, all else is commentary. And I don't know about you, Brian, but I feel most alive. I'm sure you do as well, when you have a goal and you're making progress towards it. And I feel the worst I've ever felt when I have no goal clearly defined,
100%.
not making progress towards anything. And I think that's really what humanity is really about. We feel good when we're making progress, and we feel like doggy poo when we're
Yeah.
not. So, why do you think most agents don't make that decision? I think they get stuck. I'm under the assumption that they get stuck in decision fatigue. They're at point A, and they see point B, and they see point C. And typically, point B and point C is someone's arbitrary, black and white, right or wrong, good or bad model of the world, that it's either this or that. And they get stuck in, well, should I join this agency or this agency, rather than asking what's the best agency for me where I'm most likely to succeed. And the thing is, if you never make a decision, you never reap the rewards of any single
Right.
path of B or C. So
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on why they don't make decisions? What paralyzes them with that?
Well, when, we've all heard people talk about New Year's resolutions, right? So I'm
Oh
going to quit
no.
smoking, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to do this or that or the other. We all know that typically before January's even over, those people have stopped keeping whatever decision they made on New Year's, right? That's just human nature, you know. But I really honestly believe, Mason, that the majority of grown adults who have families, they have careers, or they have jobs, 9 to 5s, whatever it is, they pay their taxes, they're trying to live a good life. But I mean, the average grown adult seriously could use some training about what is the difference between a decision and a quality from the feet up, even if it kills me decision. Those are not the same. A New Year's resolution is just as easily broken as it is made. But a decision where you say, I'm all into this, I will not stop, and I will not fail because I refuse to quit. And that's just it. So when people come into this business and they've been promised the best leads in the world, the best CRM in the world, the best mentorship in the world, all that's great. All right. Let's assume all those things are true, which they're rarely not. But let's say they are true. You could have all of that. But if you haven't made a from the feet up decision that I'm going to win, this is my industry, I'm not stopping until I reach those set goals that I wrote down on paper, that I post on the wall, that I look at every single day, several times a day. That's a big difference than a New Year's resolution type of decision. So you've got to commit 110% that failure is not an option. When you do that, even if you don't find the best lead system in the world, even if you don't find the perfect mentor in the world, you're still going to succeed. All those
I agree
other things are
wholeheartedly.
a blessing.
I agree wholeheartedly, just based on what I know about how the brain operates. And it's, first of all, for all of you out there with the word, all of us have a vocabulary, right? We have this mental model of the world and we have things that exist inside of it. And the word failure for most people should be defined as what's known as feedback. And so there's no such thing as failure, there's only feedback. And when you're talking about New Year's resolutions versus a from the feet all the way up to the head decisions, it comes down to choices versus decisions, and you have to know what a choice is and what a decision is. And so, to because I think this is really important for us to visit for the agent out there who has a poorly defined vocabulary of what choices are and what decisions are. Choices are, well, Brian, you have these four things you can do. Pick one. And you say,
Mhm.
well, I'm going to go do this one. If this one doesn't work, I'll go. A decision, if you look at the etymology, the definitions of the word and what it really means, it means to cut off. And that's why the word no is the most powerful word in the human dictionary, because it creates boundaries that you operate inside of, and freedom cannot exist without boundaries.
Right.
And when you cut off, you remove all those other options and alternatives you have to get this, and you essentially say no to all those other three choices. They no longer exist, and you only have this one. So I'm really glad you bring this up, and this ties into what I know you're really passionate about, is this whole idea of agency builders versus agency consumers. So talk to us more about that, Brian.
Absolutely. So, I'll tell you a quick story and then I'll explain this. But years ago, for a brief period of time, I needed some extra income. I was living in Long Island, New York, and so a friend of mine was a chief operating officer for a company, big company there, and he brought me on just to make some part-time money. So after about a week of working there, I went with a bunch of the head honchos to lunch. And so we're walking back from the diner. New York and Long Island is filled with diners. We don't have them so much in the South, but they're everywhere up there. So we walked from the diner back to the main warehouse and the offices. And so I said to one of the older employees, he was probably making, close to 200,000 a year or so at that point. Not bad money. For Long Island, it's not as much as it would be in Louisiana, but 200 is still a solid number. And so he had been there for many years. And so I said something to the effect of, "Hey, I know that the owner is so and so," and I called his name, and his son is sort of a co-owner, so it's a father-son ownership team at this company. How do they think? Can you other leaders tell me how they think? Like what's priority for them so that I can contribute towards that and we can make this company the best it can possibly be. I want to give my contribution. Now, what I meant was I want to do more than what I'm being asked to do, right? I want to do more than the bare minimum. I want the company that I'm working for, even if it's for a part-time season, I want that to be a winning company. And if it's possible, I want my fingerprints all over that company. Brian helped with this. Brian took care of that. Brian saw a need. Brian filled that need. No one asked him. He just saw it and did it because he cares, right? I've thought that way my entire life. So when I asked that question, all the leaders looked at each other. They stopped walking. So I stopped walking and they look at each other. And the one guy that was making about 200, he'd been there for many years. He looks up at me and he says, "I don't have the foggiest idea how they think or what the owner wants or needs, and why in the blank should I care? All I care about is are my direct deposits hitting the bank for my work? The rest, I could care less if we're the biggest and the best. I'm just worried about doing my job and going home." And so I just said, "Okay." And I left it alone. But what did he tell me when he said that? What did that communicate to me? That if I was the owner, I would let that go. I would let that guy go the next day, most likely, because he doesn't have ownership of this company. He's worked there forever and has zero ownership in its success. He's only concerned about his own success. He's consuming all the benefits of the company without really wanting to give anything back into the company and be a builder of it. He just wanted a well-paying job. That's all he wanted, and that's how he thought. So when we take that into the insurance world, I've seen that time and time again is because right now I'm not producing very much. I do sell a policy here and there, but not often anymore because most of my time is spent recruiting, training, mentoring, and so forth. And so what I see, because I'm interviewing sometimes three, four, up to even six people a day, um, they have a million questions. The person I'm interviewing has a million questions for me. What are you going to give me? Right? And it's that old attitude of like, what have you done for me lately? They want to know, what are you going to do for me? And are there free leads? And is there this? And is there that? And are you going to do this? And will the company provide that? I have yet, Mason, this may blow your mind. It blew mine. I have in the past, let's just take the past 3 weeks or so, so several dozen interviews, okay? I haven't had one single solitary interviewee ask me, "Great, Brian, now I know what you and your IMO can do for me. Now, where do you see me fitting in? These are my main skill sets. This is what I'm really good at. These are the things I'm not so good at. Where do you see me being able to contribute to the IMO or your agency at the IMO and help you build it to the best of my ability? I haven't gotten asked that question one time, Mason. So that's the difference between a builder and a consumer. A consumer just eats all the benefits of wherever they are, but they're not looking for a way to give back and make that organization even better.
Yeah, it reminds me of the difference between bees and locusts. And humans are a lot different. We're the only species you really can change in the drop of a dime. But my dogs, I think the reason why we have such an affinity for things like dogs and animals is because they don't try to pretend that they're anything other than a dog. When they go outside and hunch over and they drop a turd in the yard and they look at you like you're doing something wrong,
Yeah,
they know
right.
who the hell they are. And it comes down to essentially you have human one and human two, and it's the difference between a bee and a locust. What does a bee do? A bee is a builder. It goes out and
Yeah.
pollinates things, makes things beautiful, helps things grow. In fact, uh, and bees don't try to be anything other than bees, right? And some people they go pick up a bee in an act of kindness today, Brian, and let me know what it does to you. And don't get mad when it stings you, right?
Exactly.
Don't pick up a bee in an act of kindness and get mad when it stings you and say, "Oh, the bee hurt me." First of all, it's a bee sting.
Yeah.
Go get an epi shot unless you're allergic. Then I don't know what to tell you. Stay away
Yeah.
from bees. But then you have locusts. You have human too. And what a locust do? Well, a locust only knows how to do what a locust knows how to do, and it
Devour.
eats and destroys and devours and dissipates
Yeah.
everything in its path. And so you have to ask as a human, am I more like a, or my characteristics and qualities, are they more portraying that of a bee or a locust? Am
Yeah.
I building things or am I devouring things? Am I pollinating? Am I making things beautiful? Am I being fruitful and multiplying as God commanded?
That's
Or am
right.
I just destroying everything in my path? And man, it's so disgusting. I've been going to new waterfalls every Sunday with my wife, and I just see the litter, and I have to think, like, what kind of person goes out and does this? It's like someone with an impoverished model of reality. They think the world's a dangerous place, that it's out to get them. And sure, you have some merit to that. I'm what's known as an inverse paranoid. I think the world's there to help me, Brian. Do you know how
Yeah,
many
I love
people?
that.
Do you know how many people had to come together? Millions of people had to work together to buy the factories, build the planes, hire the employees to make this glass I'm drinking my lemonade out of for
Yeah.
whatever, 20 cents. And it's very easy for me to glasses are expensive today, but it's just sad to see the dumbing down of the population, the fact that people don't know how to ask quality questions of where do I fit in? What value do you see me providing? Or here's a really good question all of you can go ask today if you have things like self-worth issues. Who am I to not be worthy? Who are you to not be worthy? Who are you to walk around and destroy shit when you're in control? I'm under the firm belief, Brian, that you are in control of your mind, therefore your results.
Yep.
So I think it's really valuable that you're talking about this. And what is the biggest mental shift you think you could like? What's the biggest question you think you could ask somebody to have that shift from consumer to producer? Because the more that you consume, the less that you create. We
Yes.
don't get paid in insurance to consume; we get paid to produce.
Right. Yeah. The biggest question, um, when you are trying to help someone understand that they're thinking like a consumer rather than a producer. Now, there's times where we want to think like a consumer. When we're shopping on eBay or whatever, we're looking to be a consumer, right? That's why we're there. We're not there to build eBay. We're there to get a good deal. But when it comes to our work and our career and what we're putting out into the world, that should be way bigger than a commission, right? We should be, yes, of course, we want to serve families and sell policies and make great commissions and hit our goals and so forth. But if that's where you're stuck, if that's the only thing that registers on your scale is what you were able to do for you, honey, that's a problem. That is a short-sighted way to view the world. You need to view the world not only that way, but also this way, which is I work for XYZ insurance organization. Okay? Put in your name, fill in the blank. I work for this company. If I'm going to work for that company, and I'm going to invest my time and my energy. I joined this particular company for a reason, or this agency for a reason. I'm going to know who runs it, what are their names. I'm going to know details about how long they've been in business, why they're in business, what their goals are, and how can I contribute to meeting those goals. Period. It's not about, well, if I do all that work, am I going to get a bonus? Am I going to be recognized? Am I going to be noticed? Uh, if that's the attitude that you're doing it with, you might as well stop and focus on your personal production and your consumerism. The attitude needs to be, I want to build because building is how God made us all in the first place. God didn't set Adam and Eve in the garden and said, consume everything in sight, like the locust you mentioned, and just have a blast. No, he gave them dominion over it. And he said, run it, control it, manage it, build it. And that's just in human DNA. And there's nothing that's going to take that out. But we live in a society, especially for the past 100 years, that takes consumerism and shoves it down our throats every time we turn around. You can't even open a page on the internet without having 16 pop-ups about buy this, do this, enroll this. I mean, this is a microwave society. And that kind of thinking, if you buy into it and lean into it, it will destroy you.
Yeah,
It'll
you mentioned
destroy
the
a
Bible.
marriage, it'll destroy a business, it'll destroy a bank account, and it will suck the joy right out of your life. So when I see someone thinking that way, if I'm trying to get them to, if I think they are a person who can shift their thinking, I would ask them this question. All right, Mason, so I understand that you're not the owner of this company and all of that, but if you were, would you hire you?
That's a good one. It's a good reflection. Uh,
Right? I mean, that's just one simple one. But then that you can go down a rabbit trail of those questions and ask that person, what if you have not contributed beyond your 9 to 5 responsibilities, why have you not? Right? Simple
yeah.
little questions like that. It gets the brain spinning. And then they realize, you know what? Maybe I've got a selfish mentality, and maybe that's not taking me where I need to be.
Yeah, that's really good. Typically, we distort, we generalize, and we delete a lot of information. And so when you ask a question to get someone to see what they omitted from their previous vision, it's like a huge mind boggle. I'll never forget the day someone, I think this is one of the best compliments I've ever been given, and said, "Dude, I don't know what you did, but you twisted my brain. It's like I stuck my head outside the world, out of a window, Mason, and I saw the whole world." It's
Yeah.
like, it's pretty good questioning. I'll take that. Uh, but then you mentioned the Bible, and it's so funny. It said, God said, you may eat freely of every tree in the garden, right? Every and freely. How much more abundance how much more, does that sound abundant, Brian?
Absolutely.
Every and freely. If you got everything for free, that's pretty abundant. It
Yep.
said, except, Brian,
Right.
except this one tree.
This
For if you eat of
one,
it, you
only
will surely.
one.
So
Yep.
Adam and Eve had to walk past all that abundance, all the fruit trees, the commission trees, the money, all the trees they had to get to the one that they didn't.
Yep.
And so you talk, they focus on the one thing they lack, and that teaches you a very fundamental flaw of human nature. I won't even call it a flaw because the moment you twist that, you reframe it, you make it mean something different, you define it differently, and you look for all the good you have, it's equally available. It's the law of polarity, right? For every positive, there's a negative.
Yeah.
Nothing in life is one-sided. Not because it doesn't exist, but because it can't exist. How do I know that? You ever flipped a one-sided coin? You ever ate a one-sided piece of bread? Brian, you ever wrote on a one-sided sheet of paper? You had
I
a
have
magic
not.
shop? No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Uh, and so it's very interesting. You and this whole thing with microwave results, it's people expect. And I remember my grandma telling me when she was a kid, it used to take an hour to cook a potato. And I remember just a couple Thanksgivings ago, she was in there yelling at the microwave because it took 5 minutes to bake it. People, and so it's very funny. You have to get really good at defining what something means. And if you want to take what Brian says and really get something out of it, a lot of you are looking for short-term instant results. What's going to pay me today? And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. You have to pay your bills. I agree with you. You have to make ends meet. You have to pay for your family. And it's hard to worry about mindset when you're on Maslow's hierarchy and you're down there in the survival. You're worried about
Yeah.
what food is
Yeah.
going in your belly that day.
Yeah.
And so you have to get really good at seeing how can I plant a tree today. Maybe put some Miracle Grow on it to pop the first apple out, but at least you have a tree that you can pluck all the apples from in 10 years. So how can what you do today pay you today and years down the line? Every customer I got, I wanted to sell at least 5, 10 policies to, on top of get 5 to 10 referrals.
Yeah.
So when you look like that, when you look for things like that, you'll notice new opportunities, which is extremely beautiful. This has been one of the best conversations we've had on here, Brian. So this has been really valuable for the agents and agency owners out there who want to learn more about what you do. Tell us who's a good fit to work with you and how
Yeah.
they can get in touch. Because Brian and his wife and the team they're on, they are phenomenal people.
Thank you. So yeah, the best way to get in touch, you can just shoot me an email to Brian, Brian McCrae, MCRAY. It's all together at Gmail. And hit me up right there. I'd be thrilled to talk to you. But we're looking for people who do have a builder mindset. Not only do they want to build their own agencies and their own income and set those attainable goals and then set them higher and higher. We'll help you do that. However, we are looking for people who we don't mind people consuming the benefits that we offer. That's why we offer the benefits. They are meant to be consumed. However, you must also commit from day one. I'm going to do my part to make this agency even stronger than it already is. Yes, I'm coming in so that I can make an income and provide for my family, but I'm going to be determined from day one with a decision from the feet up that I'm going to win. I'm going to be coachable. I'm going to be teachable. I'd rather have my arm cut off than fail, right? This is not a New Year's resolution decision. I'm going to win here. And then number two, I'm willing to build the agency. And when I see a need, if I think I can fill it, I'm going to go fill it. I'm not going to wait to be asked. I'm going to say, hey, we don't have this form, this document, these standard operating procedures typed up yet. I think I'm good at that. I'm going to give it a go, submit it to Brian and Rita, let them review it, and go from there. But people who care about helping everybody else on the team, those are the people we're looking for. We're looking for people who are generous with their heart, generous with their time, generous with their attitude. And if that's you, we'd love to talk to you.
Fantastic. We're going to wrap up here. You guys go comment down below. Tell Brian McCrae, a good friend of mine, thank you for sharing his insights on agency builder versus agency locust. I mean, sorry, I said that out loud. On agency consumer. Uh, and for
That's
those of you
good.
who are interested in being more like a bee, you'd probably fit in very well with Brian. I know they have a fantastic system over there. You guys are all under the umbrella of David Price.
Yes,
And
sir, we are.
it's a fantastic agency. There's only two big people I promote typically in this world. It's David Duford and David Price. About the only two people in the industry if I was a brand new agent, I would join. So
Yeah.
for those of you interested, I'll have all of Brian's links down below. Go schedule a call, go hang out with him, go buy him a coffee, whatever you want to do. And
Sounds
if you'd
good.
like to be a guest on Policy and Profit, we're always looking for successful agents and agency owners doing at least 10K a month in commissions and have unique strategies and stories to tell. You can apply at the link down below at the description or the pinned link in the comments. Go check that out right now. Make sure you're subscribed. If you're not, I don't like you very much. It takes 2 seconds, so go subscribe. One more time, if you want to stop getting people on your team that never sell anything and drain your time and want to recruit the right people the first time on autopilot and fill your agency with rock stars, go to writemorepolicies.com/playbook. Until next time, keep building that commission machine, my dear friend. Brian, you crushed it, dude.